Welcome to Shadow Fable. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy stories that creep beneath the surface. Slow, unsettling tales designed to make your mind wander just before sleep. Tonight's story begins in a hospital, but not the kind you'd want to be admitted to. Room 13 wasn't on the blueprints. They'd sealed that part of the psychiatric wing years ago, after the flood. Or that's what they told us anyway. No patients, no lights, just faded walls, the hum of flickering ceiling panels, and a door that nobody used. At least, not anymore. I was a night shift nurse just trying to keep my life together. Newly single, too old to start over, too young to give up. 42 and exhausted most days. The night shift at Merrill Ridge State Hospital wasn't glamorous, but it paid the bills and kept things quiet. Until the supervisor called me into his office last Monday. "We need you to keep an eye on a long-term patient," he said, glancing at a clipboard like he hadn't just dropped a strange bomb. "Room 13, I blinked. "That wing's been closed for years." He didn't answer directly. "It's a one-night assignment. You'll just observe, nothing more." No explanation, no file, no backstory, just a name scribbled on a transfer form. Subject A. No visitors. I should have said no. I knew better. But I've always had that reflex, the one where you nod, agree, and ask questions later. The hallway to room 13 had a different temperature. I swear the air grew colder the farther I walked. The other wings had tile floors, freshly waxed. This one had warped linoleum, the kind that bubbled and creaked underfoot. As I passed room 9, then 10, then 11, I started hearing something. Scratching. Not loud, just subtle enough to raise the hairs on your arms. When I finally reached room 13, the door was already open. The room was dim. The only light came from a single desk lamp on the far wall. The patient sat hunched beneath it, back facing me, scribbling something furiously into a notebook. She looked average, older than me, probably in her 60s, gray wisps of hair tied into a low knot, thin frame, pale, as though she hadn't left the room in years. I cleared my throat softly. "Ms." She didn't respond, just kept writing. I walked closer, trying not to startle her. "I'm Nurse Ellen. I'll be here with you tonight. Just observing, that's all." Still nothing. But I saw her hand tremble as she kept writing. Scribble, scribble, scribble. She filled page after page without looking up. Then I saw the handwriting. It was mine. I froze. My name, Ellen Rowe, was written at the top of every page in precise loops I instantly recognized. Slanted letters. A small heart over the lowercase I, the same way I'd written it since high school. "Where did you get this?" I asked. She stopped writing. Didn't look up, didn't speak. Just slowly slid the notebook toward me. I picked it up. The pages weren't just my handwriting, they were memories. My memories. June 8th, I dropped the mug and lied about it. Said the cat knocked it over. I was 20. I don't know why I lied. October 14th, I stood outside Mom's bedroom and listened to her cry, didn't go in, regret it. January 3rd, he left me. I pretended not to care. Word for word. Some of these thoughts I'd never said aloud. Some I'd never even written down. I backed away, my palms started to sweat. This wasn't just strange, it was impossible. The woman finally turned her head toward me. Her face was blank, eyes too wide, lips moving soundlessly. "Who told you these things?" I demanded. "Why are you writing this?" Her lips kept moving, but no words came. Then she smiled, not cruelly, not kindly, just emptily. I stayed for the rest of the shift. What else could I do? She didn't eat, didn't sleep, didn't move from that chair, just wrote and wrote and wrote. Around 3:17 a.m., I took a photo of the notebook when she wasn't looking. I had to prove I wasn't going crazy. But the next morning when I checked my phone, the photo was gone. In its place, a black screen with one line of text. She only writes what you forget. I called in sick that night. But room 13 stayed with me. The way the hall bent slightly too far left. The buzzing in my ears when I passed it. The way her pen scratched paper like it was carving into something. I tried to explain it to my supervisor. He stared at me for a long time. "There's no patient in room 13, he finally said. I was just there 2 nights ago." He shook his head. "That wing was condemned. Flood damage, no power. The doors padlocked, always has been." I laughed. It came out high-pitched, nervous. "Is this a joke?" He pulled open a drawer and dropped a key on the desk. "See for yourself. Just be careful." So that night, like a fool, like a moth to a flame, I went back. The hallway was darker. The buzzing overhead lights had gone silent. Only the glow from my phone kept me steady as I walked past the numbered rooms. Room 13 was locked. I fumbled with the key, heart hammering. Click. Inside, nothing. No desk lamp, no woman, no notebook. Just a dusty, empty room with peeling paint and water-stained walls. No furniture, no sign anyone had been there in years. Except there was something on the floor. A single sheet of paper. I picked it up with shaking hands. It was a journal entry, in my handwriting. One I hadn't written yet. March 17th, returned to the room. Found nothing. Felt the panic settle in my chest like a stone. Like I'd been erased one memory at a time, and she was saving the rest for later. I dropped it and backed out. That should have been the end of it. But every night since, something new has appeared. In my apartment, on the bathroom mirror, on the fridge, inside my purse, little notes, scribbled in my handwriting. Memories I've never recorded. Some I wish I could forget. Others, I swear, never happened, until they start to feel real. Like the time I dreamt I drowned as a child. I'd never had that memory, but now I can't shake the smell of river water in my dreams. Or the time I supposedly broke my sister's wrist in a fight. I don't even have a sister, but when I look at the photo on my nightstand, there's someone new standing beside me in it. A girl with dark eyes and a cast on her arm. And her face looks familiar. Too familiar. I've stopped trusting my memories. Some days I wake up and the apartment feels off, like a painting slightly askew. Familiar, but not quite right. The coffee tastes too sweet. My cat, Daisy, stares at me like she's waiting for someone else to come through the door. And every night I find another note, taped to the back of the TV, folded neatly inside my pillowcase, slipped into my coat pocket, one I hadn't worn since last winter. They're always written in the same looping, unmistakable script. Mine. But the content keeps getting worse. April 2nd, you forgot what you did at the lake. You wanted to forget. She remembers. April 4th, you were never supposed to leave her. April 6th, do you still think your name is Ellen? I've started keeping the notes in a shoebox. At last count, there were 37. I can't bring myself to throw them away. A part of me, a stupid, broken part, thinks maybe they'll stop if I acknowledge them. That maybe I'm being warned. That's the part that keeps me awake. Because even though I know who I am, I've started to feel the slippage. I caught myself writing the wrong date on a form, not just a day or two off, but the wrong year. My reflection hesitated the other night. I moved, and it lagged. Just slightly, like a buffering video. I stared at it until tears blurred my vision. And then, there's the worst part. The dreams. They're not nightmares exactly, more like recollections. Except they don't belong to me. I'm sitting at a desk in a room with yellowed walls and peeling paint. Writing. My hand is thinner, older, veins like blue rivers beneath paper-thin skin. I write for hours, eyes never blinking. My hand aches, but I don't stop. And in the dream, I know I'm her. The woman from room 13. She writes in silence, fueled by some force deeper than reason. She's not trying to remember, she's trying to preserve. And she's writing me into existence, or out of it. I wake drenched in sweat, with ink smudges on my fingers. Yesterday, the shoebox was missing. I tore the apartment apart, found it inside the oven. Every note inside was blank. Just smooth off-white paper, smelling faintly of mildew. But I remember what they said. I remember all of it. I called the hospital this morning, asked for my supervisor. The line was quiet for too long before someone answered. "Ellen Rowe?" the voice said, cautious. "I'm sorry, but she doesn't work here anymore." "No, Wait, what?" "She resigned 3 months ago, after the incident. Who is this?" I hung up. I didn't resign. I've been working every shift. My badge still works. My schedule is taped to the fridge. I've been going to work, haven't I? I checked my phone. No missed calls, no messages, no calendar events past March. I opened my bank app. No direct deposits in weeks. The last charge on my card was at the diner across from Ridge. Paid in cash. I don't know when the days started blending or if they ever stopped. I don't know how long I've been in this place. I don't even know if it's my place anymore. Tonight, I found another note. This time, it was waiting for me on the inside of my front door, taped at eye level. Only 5 words. "You are not the first." There's someone in the hallway. I haven't opened the door, but I can hear it. Not footsteps, not breathing. Writing. The faint scratch of pen on paper, deliberate and slow. The same sound I heard in room 13. It hasn't stopped. I sit here, afraid to breathe too loudly, afraid the sound will stop and I'll have to face what's behind that door. I want to scream, to run, but there's nowhere to go. I checked every window, every lock, every mirror. They all show something different. Different angles, different versions of the room. Of me. I just watched myself blink twice. In a mirror I wasn't standing near. The lights are dimming now. The hum of the fridge has gone silent. The only thing I can hear is that soft, endless scribble. Scribble, scribble, scribble. Sometimes I wonder if I ever left the hospital, if room 13 isn't a place, but a state, a loop, a story being written over and over until someone gets it right. Maybe I was the nurse, maybe I was the patient, maybe I still am both. Maybe room 13 isn't a room at all. Maybe it's me. And maybe you're next.